Hey there, Legion, this is Hadrian. Thank you for being here. Let's play some more of The Long Dark in our Survival School series. So what I would like to do with episodes 18 and 19 of this series, episode 20, what we're going to do is kind of a catch-all. I will look at comments on these episodes. I will look at comments on previous episodes, things that I might not have covered, things you guys have suggested, things I might need to return to just to make sure I recap. And we'll do kind of a catch-all and maybe some concluding thoughts from me in the 20th episode. But in these penultimate episodes, what I decided I want to do, and I've been hinting at this for a few episodes now, well, not hinting at it, I've been outright saying I want to do this, is kind of do a high-level start. We're going to do an hour of play. So today's episode and tomorrow's episode focused on what does an advanced start look like for a Long Dark player? What is the typical thought process? And I know you might be thinking, well, Hadrian, you've recorded a bunch of Interloper and Against the Odd series. Why not just watch those? And that's a great point. Go watch them if you would like to see more of what an advanced start looks like. But I would actually like to go into even more detail of my thought process. What am I actually doing and why am I doing it? Why is this important? What is motivating this decision making? Because I want you, the new player, to be able to see, okay, enough with this Voyager nonsense. You know what you're doing, dude. Show us what that really looks like once you have some experience with a Long Dark. So this is a custom playthrough. Again, not going to talk too much about the settings at the moment because this is possibly a bit of a dry run for Against All Odds Season 5 for me. But so I'll talk a little bit about, the specific settings, but I'm not going to go through the entire list because I'm still tweaking it. But this is an Interloper level playthrough with some things like the rifle is turned on. And there are some other things that are tweaked to either be more like Stalker, a few settings that are actually even more lenient than Stalker for specific reasons, but then a few settings that are also even more punishing than Interloper. Interloper does use the maximum possible item rarity settings. It does, and we're using those here as well. So items are going to be very, very hard to come by. But I'm going to go ahead and jump in here so we don't waste any more time. I want you guys to see as much of this hour as I can get in. So we will go for Mark Meer, of course, and let's go ahead and confirm. No feats. This will be just Survival School 18... Okay, 1819. There we go. Yo. Let's see what quote we get. Watch it be the really long one that I never have any time to read out. That's not the long one. I once read an interesting book which said that most people lost in the wilds, they die of shame. Yeah, see, they die of shame. What did I do wrong? How could I have got myself into this? And so they sit there and they die because they didn't do the one thing that would save their lives. Thinking. David Mamet, The Edge. Oh, this is funny. Well, we're in Mystery Lake. But you know what? I'm going to roll with it. Because this actually allows me to keep this is perfect, actually. This allows me to keep the series spoiler light. It's the beginning of the day. And I can just jump in and show you kind of what this playthrough looked like. Is this where we started before? I feel like it might be where we started at the beginning of the series. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not. I know where we are, too. Which brings me to the very first thing I want to point out to you about an advanced start. It's just something you should be aware of. Once you have played the game as much as I have, or as much as anyone who would consider themselves an advanced player has played it, and there are certainly people who have played the game for thousands of hours more than I have, but I know where I am right now. Virtually anywhere in the world you can start, you will immediately... Well, first of all, the game does tell you now when the game boots up, this is where you are. It didn't used to do that. It'll now give you the zone name. Maybe it doesn't. It didn't. I don't think it did when I loaded up a moment ago. Did it say Mystery Lake and I just missed it? I don't know. But I know I'm in Mystery Lake. And in a minute, I'm going to turn left and we're going to be at the clear cut. That's the thing. When you start in Long Dark, once you've been playing for a while, you do know exactly where you are. Unless you're in a new zone, and like I've said, that's one of the most magical things about playing the Long Dark for a while, is that when they release an update with a new zone, you get excited because you get that new player feeling again. You're feeling your way around, you have no idea where you're going, and it's fun. Kind of like the final few episodes of Against All Odds Season 4, where we were down in the Milton Basin, and I had never been there before, and I was exploring, and I was having a blast. But because you know where you are, you immediately make a decision on kind of where you're going for shelter. And on that note, actually, since we're playing on a high-level playthrough, I'm picking up every stick that I can because you never know how many you're going to need or whether or not you might need to throw a snow shelter down. Not that I have a lot for snow shelter at the moment.
Can't feel my hands.
Yeah, I imagine you can't. We're about to be hypothermic. So I'm going to meander to the left and find my way to shelter. I think I might even be finding myself... I might be guiding myself to a very similar location to where we started in the Survival School series, but this Survival School series, actually. But the interesting thing is, these settings are completely different. Again, Interloper, which I'm using the Interloper item rarity settings for this, has the lowest possible item rarity settings. Now, if you've looked at the custom settings for Interloper, you might say, if you haven't played with it like I have, you might say, well, Hadrian, actually, the Interloper settings have container item density set to high. So you can turn container item density down and make it even harder on yourself. Actually, no. In the current version of the game, that particular item, that particular setting is reverse worded. So if you have item density set to high, container item density set to high, what that means is that when you find a container that is not empty, there's a deer there, so that's a good sign that there might not be a predator around. When you have container item density set to high, it actually means that item density is quite low. Play with it if you don't believe me. Do a custom playthrough with container item density set to the lowest possible setting. You will see what I mean. It actually means that the density of containers that are not empty, which is another setting you can tweak, the chance of a container being empty in the world, which is as low as possible in these settings. The chance that such container is actually full of things. So you can up that setting, and when you do find a container that's not empty, it'll have a bunch of stuff in it, but I have this set to where even when I find a container that has something in it, there's not going to be a lot. And whatever's in it might not be that good. So this is the lowest possible setting for the kind of stuff you can find. And also I have the lowest possible settings, as does Interloper, for starting gear, which not only determines... I actually think starting gear and... item, like world resource allocation, are two different settings, come to think of it. So I have it set to the lowest possible world resource allocation, which means that there are no knives, there are no hatchets, and I hope they tweak that in the future. I would love there to be a knife setting and a hatchet setting the same way as there's a rifle setting, or a knife and hatchet setting as one. So we can say, yes, I want the knife and hatchet to spawn in the world. I don't have to make them like we did in the Forge of the last episode, right? So right now I have it set to where there are no knives and no hatchets in the world. Fun times, right? I do have the rifle turned on. So there's a chance we'll find one here since we're in Mystery Lake. But my biggest priority at the moment is just, I'm like really glad we started in Mystery Lake. It threw me off at first, but I love the fact that we started in Mystery Lake. That's fantastic. So I'm checking under the beds. Again, my first thought when I started out there was, yes, pick up every stick. That's a running joke on the channel. I even mentioned it in episode 1 of Survival School 2017. Had someone tell me on the channel a long time ago. Actually, more than one person, really. You should be picking up every stick you see. And yeah, I mean, when you have a lot of room in your inventory, there's no reason you shouldn't be picking up as much stuff as possible. But at the same time, you know, you only need so much of one thing. Okay, there's a corpse. Probably not going to have anything on him. Nope. Welcome to Interloper, or something that looks like it. So far, nothing. Like, absolutely zero zilch nada. And we have frostbite risk as well. Okay, here's a wilderness kitchen book, so we have a cooking manual at least. I think that's the only hut I haven't been into yet. We have so little gear on, and no, I have not checked my clothing yet because it's simply not a priority. I know that my clothing's not good enough. I need to move. Okay, good. We got some beef jerky and a candy bar there, so that's a good start for food, at least. But I already checked that. My one priority right now is just to move. to explore as much as I can, as quickly as I can, and scavenge as much as I can, as quickly as I can. That's why I haven't really checked my gear yet. There's an argument to be made that maybe I can check my gear right now and just kind of know really quickly what I have. It's really neither here nor there, because I have hypothermia risk right now. Until I find a way to get warm and indoors, none of it matters. None of it matters. So I'm actually going to run up here, and we're going to try and make our way towards the camp office. I'm really glad we started in Mystery Lake. This is perfect for this series. Couldn't have asked for better. All right, I've got 6% frostbite risk, probably on my hands and face, I would imagine. Yep. What have I got? I've got a sweater. Oh my god. Sweater, underwear, jeans, socks, and running shoes. I mean, I suppose... I mean, I'm almost up there. I could maybe scale the rest of the way up to the tower. May as well, since we're this close. I'm going to lose more condition. It's par for the course. This is going to get me most of the way up there, but I think we're going to have to navigate a good ways around here to get up to the top, actually. I might be wrong. It'd be cool to find out that you can get up this way. If so, I didn't know. But I think I'm going to have to go all the way around, starting right about here. Yup. Yup. Unless I can Skyrim up? No, hell no. That's not happening. Oh, God. Okay, yeah. Never mind. That's not happening. We need to get to the camp office. It would take too long for me to get around. So I'm just making a spatial and a space and time judgment, really. Careful on this slope. Making a space and time judgment on what I have time to pick up. God, I really need to get a solution for this mouse. This is driving me nuts. Sorry, that's totally meta commentary, but... Okay, I see a cairn. That's cool. Alright, I need to get somewhere where I can get down this slope a little bit more easily. Here we go. Alright, so... I'm guessing they're circling a deer carcass, because there's usually a prop deer around here. Alright, we've got frostbite risk now on our hands and face. Again, trying to find my way to shelter as quickly as possible. Alright, first thing I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to step up on top of this rock and use it as a high point to survey for nearby wildlife before I descend into an area where there could be a wolf walking around. Fantastic! Okay, I need to be fast because there could still be a wolf nearby. So my thinking is I'm going to move through here as rapidly as I can. I have a full stamina meter so I can sprint if I need to. I'm going to keep it mostly full in case there is a wolf that I haven't spotted, because there could have been a wolf hugging this rock wall right here, which would have sucked. Just to be clear, that would have been terrible. I would have hated my life. Hey, corpse! Useless, as per usual. But there's also stuff over here. Hang on, here's a crow feather. These are crow feathers from the corpse. So yes, they are in fact circling a corpse that is inside the train car. Don't ask questions, just let it happen. Okay, there's a simple toolkit. That's a good start. Here's a first aid kit as well. And yes, you might be thinking, hey, look, a deer carcass. Why don't you go ahead and ravage and harvest that? Haha, no, I would die if I tried to stand around and do that right now. Plus, it's frozen. I don't have any tools, so kind of useless to think about that. But let's go ahead and head as rapidly as possible. We can sprint. We're not wearing a lot. We have virtually no movement restriction. I think the only movement restriction we have is coming from our jeans, maybe? I think? I have the wildlife settings for this particular setting. It's a little bit... I think they're similar to Voyager. They might be identical to Voyager, but the toughness of the wildlife is similar to Interloper, if not a little harsher than Interloper, maybe. I can't quite recall what I've got them set to. I loaded up based on a code on some settings that I tweaked a while ago. So if I run into a wolf, it'll be scary. All right, I've run out of most of my stamina, and I want to make sure I conserve it. All right, we're down to 70% condition. And yes, this is normal for an advanced start. Let me go ahead and grab these rocks, because you never know. This is normal for an advanced start in the Long Dark. You're going to lose a lot of condition if you have to take a while finding your way to shelter, which you almost always will. and you'll have to spend some time really working your way back up. Now, thankfully, since we're at Mystery Lake, we've got several locations nearby that we can search. And because we're at the lake as well, we have cattails that we can munch on. On high-level playthroughs, oh my god, cattails are your friend. As we've joked about in the comments. Interloper Survival School, if I ever did a full series devoted to this level of gameplay, would be... Let me tell you, it would be Cattail... as one of my regular commenters put it, Cattail Simulator 2018. Hey, I see 3 rifle cartridges. More important than ever at this level. Notice, by the way, we're still cold. We're indoors, still cold. That's how little clothing you start with in a high-level playthrough of this game. If you haven't found out the hard way already. FYI, that's how it works. Alright, there's tomato soup. That's nice. Let me duck in here really quickly. I got nothing. Okay, nice. Frontier shooting guide. A whetstone. Can use that to sharpen tools that I don't have. Is that? No, it's not a pry bar. Oh, I got so excited. I thought that was a pry bar. Man, oh man, the game just teased me. Holy crap. I'll pick up the stack of papers, because that's tinder, potentially. Now, I don't have any means to start a fire. There could be matches out in the world, which I could find. Water purification tablets. Hey, okay, well that's decent. Let me check the workbench. Sometimes there could be... Yep, there's a hook. Line, however, on high-level starts, does not spawn in the world. Hey, dead guy. I was worried you'd be there. Empty. Get a book. Yeah, line doesn't spawn in the world, so you need to gut a rabbit, or a deer, or a wolf, or anything, really, that you managed to kill. Yeah, we don't have any matches. Yay. Who's excited? There's a bedroll. That's a good early find. You don't start with a bedroll in high-level play. So, that actually is a win for me. Now, how cold is it in here? Feels like 30 degrees. Perfect. I can actually rest and recover some of my condition. I'm not going to worry about this right now. I'm just going to rest for... We get a warmth bonus of 10 degrees, so yeah, this will be fine. Let's rest for as long as the game will let me. Both our warmth will go up, and our risks will go away. We'll regain some condition. Now, it might be dark. Oh, no, it's not, actually. Perfect. Well, now, what this gives me the opportunity to do is run around even more. Again, at the very beginning, you're running around like a madman. Because your objective is to find the best gear you can as quickly as you can. And playing at this level is just a matter of not stopping. So that actually was kind of ideal in terms of where we were able to stop, how much time we had left in the day, how long we needed to rest before we were fully rested, etc. Cattails are not going to be too plentiful. Because I changed the setting. Not even interloper is this mean. Gotta handicap myself somehow. Plus, you know, kind of reduce the cattail jokes and reduce cattail harvesting time. There are some episodes of my interloper series where it just seems like I spend entire episodes just harvesting these things. And with good reason. But still, it does get ridiculous. Alright, so there's a wolf over there. I need to be careful of that. I have not currently changed the wildlife detection range settings. That's another way in which I can make it a lot more punishing. The reason I haven't done that is I feel like that would make it, and this, some of you might actually find this to be like, oh, there's 2 wolves. Some of you might actually find this to be a reason to do it, like a reason to use this setting in a future Against All Odds or the Long Dark series. But the reason I haven't changed it is because it would really make the game entirely different for me. Like an entirely new experience in terms of how hard I had to try to... Oh, crap. They're closer than I thought. In terms of how hard I had to try to avoid wildlife before they found me. Okay, not too many cattails, as you can see. But I might be able to duck into that fishing hut if I'm quick. Also, it seems like there's a corpse in front of it, as there usually is. Yeah, let's go in here. The most cattails on Mystery Lake are around the center island here, so that's where I'll check. All right, nothing in here. There is some firewood. That's nice, but what I really need is... There's another hook. Hey, a wool toque. Perfect. Let's put that on. It's actually in pretty good condition, too. So we'll no longer get frostbite risk on our head. Yeah, first priority. Finding and a war... Hey, that's... Holy crap. That never happens, ever. Hang on, let me make sure. Yeah, the better wind protection item needs to be on the outside. And this is the outside in this case. So, where? There we go. Alright, the wolves are right there. I got disoriented for a second. I was like, oh crap. Which way are the wolves? Alright, so I can climb that rope, and there's a cave up that direction too, where there could potentially be things to find. I'm getting pretty thirsty, but I do have... See, I don't have any matches yet, is the real problem. And until I find something to start a fire with, or something to drink, I am up the creek.
I could use a drink.
I don't know how international that phrase is, so in the off chance that whether you live in the United States or not, and you're not familiar with the phrase up the creek without a paddle, hopefully now that I've added the without a paddle, the meaning is quite clear. It essentially means that you're screwed. And I would be quite screwed if I didn't find any matches somewhere around the lake here. There's a chance that I could still survive, but it's not a high one. I'm going to grab a few more stones. I'm still keeping my head on a swivel, looking around for anything I can grab on the ground, because stuff lays around here. I mean, there's rocks aplenty, that's for sure. Because we're playing on lower difficulty, there's some sports socks. Okay, there we go. We've already got one pair of sports socks, but 2 pairs makes us warmer. There are going to be more... Okay, matches. There we go. There are going to be more... hang on. There are going to be more burned out buildings. Yeah, that. That's going to be a thing. Okay, now I don't have a can opener yet, so if I were to eat this, I would lose some of the calories in it, but at least I would not get thirsty. So I'm going to go ahead and smash this open. Hate to do it, but this provides some hydration, even if just a little bit. I didn't see how much I lost there. I wasn't paying attention. All right, let me look around one more time before I go to the next cabin. There's some reclaimed wood. Definitely going to grab that. Stack of papers, I'll grab that. Again, no reason not to pick up anything. I could even rip up this cloth. It would take 15 minutes, but we're still cold in here is the problem. How cold are we? Feels like 31 degrees. The minute I can repair some of my items, I'll be able to get to a point where I'll be warm enough when I'm indoors. So we've made good progress. Oh, great. Now we've got wind. We've made good progress with finding some initial items. But again, high-level playthrough, nomad, nomad, nomad. Start moving, don't stop. I'm glad we found matches, though. That's huge. That will allow me to at least stop long enough to get some water, because we have some firewood too, and there are some reclaimed wood. There's reclaimed wood that I've picked up. Nothing in that crate. Nothing under that bed. Again, very important to quadruple check everything you find. Okay, now I found that t-shirt. The t-shirt is crap for wind protection, so I'm going to put the t-shirt on first. And that on second. Now we are actually above freezing, which is nice. But I'm going to keep moving anyway, because I'm a masochist. Alright, let me visit the next couple of cabins, and I will cut this first episode here, then jump right into a recording of the next one, and hopefully get this one up on time today. We'll see. I had to restart my first attempt at this because it was a middle of the night start, and I can't remember if I mentioned this earlier in the episode or not already, but essentially what I found was that I was feeling my way around in the dark. I didn't have any matches, and there wasn't anything to watch. I mean, I knew what I was doing, and it might have been entertaining, but from a teaching perspective, I wasn't feeling it, so I decided to restart. It was cool. I liked that it was that tense, but I much prefer that I restarted and we started in Mystery Lake. That's phenomenal. Got some scrap metal there, that's good. Not particularly useful to me at this point, but we're finding lots of books which will help me start fires, and I will never complain about anything that makes my life easier. Oh, I've already checked that. Anything that makes my life easier when it comes to starting fire in the Long Dark. So, yeah, I never noticed the Dreamcatcher before. That's cool. I've got one of those. I've had one for years. Got it when I was a kid. It's kind of a good luck charm at this point. Because I'm definitely not a kid anymore. Okay, cabinet here. Cabinet is, okay, no. I was about to say, maybe a little bit more promising in terms of high chance of finding something, but no, not really. Oh, a stone in the trash can. Thanks, game. That's real nice. That's very useful to me. And I will be using that. Just kidding, I won't be using it at all, ever, except maybe to distract a wolf that's coming at me. That might be a fun thing to try out. I haven't messed with it too much, but you can throw rocks to divert the attention of wildlife. You totally can. It's a thing. Alright, so I've been in both of these cabins now. Still pretty cold when I stand outside. That t-shirt didn't do much to protect me from that, but let's see what else we can find before I wrap this one. You know, what I may do is just put the game on pause and code this one and upload it, then come back. Because since I don't have to handbrake episodes anymore, God, it's glorious. And the video quality is better. Oh, crap. You see that? Middle of the screen? That's a bear. That's a friendly neighborhood bear. And by friendly, I mean not at all. Even a little bit. Right, let's step in here. We found some research books to start out, so that's going to give us a skill boost. Another reason to scavenge. I mean, the reasons to scavenge often and early in the Long Dark are endless. And I hope after watching the first several episodes of this series, that's obvious to you. They never stop.
Can't feel my feet.
I know. I'm sure you're... Actually, speaking of that, yeah, see, we haven't stepped on thin ice, so we're not in danger of our footwear freezing like I showed you at the beginning of the last episode, but... Hey, Bear. How you doing, buddy? How you doing, man? I'm just gonna step into this cabin real quick, and you're gonna not chase me, please. That would be real nice of you. I'm gonna look behind the cabin because sometimes there's something there. Actually, I know you do, Mark. He's close enough. He's far enough, rather, to where I might be able to get away before he gets interested. Bears are difficult to provoke in the Long Dark. You have to try to piss a bear off. Alright, so unfortunately, the soup that I drank earlier has already lost its efficacy. Alright, there is some lantern fuel there, but I don't have a lantern, so that's not quite useful to me yet. Let's poke our heads out here and see how close that bear is. Yeah, he's right there. I can get away. And I'm gonna get away. Let me run this way. Yeah,
he's freezing.
I know. So now we're hypothermic and we're getting thirsty. I'm going to poke my head into this spot here. Bear still doesn't see me. Yeah, see, you have to try really hard to make a bear mad in the Long Dark. Hey, man. How's it going? Yeah, you need to stay right there for a second. I'm just going to poke my head in here. Another bedroll. 2 bedrolls right at the beginning. I'm taking the bedroll because cloth. Because cloth. That's a sentence. Potbelly stove. I mean, I could light a fire. Well, not going to worry about it. Okay, so interesting decision ahead of me. I will go ahead and stop this episode here. In the next one, I'm going to continue, and I'm not sure which direction I'm going to go. I'm probably just going to need to go back to the camp office and get some water in order to recover some condition. That's probably the smart move to make. Because I would like to go farther, but I just don't know that I can risk it at the moment. I've also got to get around those 2 wolves, so wish me luck. But I'll go ahead and stop this one here. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to follow along. New episodes are coming out every day at 3 p.m. Eastern Time until the end of the series. Well, they'll still come out at 3 p.m. Eastern Time when I can squeeze them in, but or they might just come out at random times. Who knows? But comments are always welcome. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time.